Hey, welcome back to Sorare Edge. At the bottom of the screen in the show notes, you can click on the link for each threshold, 0 to 5, 6 to 10, etc. And that'll take you to the part of the video that talks about those particular players. So if you need somebody in that range, that's a good way to find what you're looking for. So before I get into it, I wanted to talk a little bit about Vince Williams. So he'd been on our radar for quite a while, before he even really cracked the rotation, and he's been really good for us. I'd finally sold my Vince Williams today. I saw a run on him this morning, and I thought, well, it's probably time to get rid of him. Reason being, not that he isn't a good play today, because I think he is. Derrick Rose is out. I think he's going to get a decent amount of run again today. But with Ja Morant coming back tomorrow, I think the whole team context changes. I don't know what his role is going to be going forward. He's already up to 16. I don't know that you're going to get a lot more than that once Morant comes back. So if you have one of his, I would say this is a good time as any to sell. I'm going to start by highlighting Dalen Terry from the Bulls. 16 minutes last game. That's probably his most all year. It looks like Craig is a game time decision tonight. Caruso suffered an ankle injury, missed last game. He's also a game time decision tonight. Levine remains out. Dalen Terry's a guy who ripped up Summer League, played really well. Really hasn't had much of a chance to do anything at the pro level this season, but at 0.72 points a minute, if he can get some minutes, L10 of 4, he's got to be on the radar at least. Cost of $1.06. There's a couple of those for sale at that level. And the Bulls have a 3-game week this week. Tough one at Philly tonight, and then a back-to-back, so I think he's in there at least in some capacity. Garrison Matthews in Atlanta has actually been getting some heavier run with the Hawks with a lot of injuries in Atlanta. If we look at their rotations, he's been getting in that 15 to 20 minute range the last week or so. Coach seems to like him better than some of the other options, so if you want to take a look at him, he's 0.68 points per minute, so not real productive, but he's a three-point shooter. He can get hot. L10 of just 5, still only $1.28. With Mark Williams out in Charlotte the last couple games, JT Thor's been getting some run. He just hasn't done anything with it. 22 minutes last game. I think he got up 8 shots, but he only made 1. L10 of 6. Honestly, I would rather have Matthews here, and they're the same price. The Dallas big man rotation is a mess. Derek Lively got hurt again, left last game after just 6 minutes. He's already been ruled out for tonight. Dwight Powell came in and played 22. Richaun Holmes was also out with an illness. He's still a game time decision, same illness tonight. I'm assuming he's back, and if he is, he's a decent play as well. Powell's the guy who got highlighted here just because he's beating his L10 and his minutes could be even higher than normal. But he's really inconsistent with his minutes, so this is kind of a boom or bust here. If Holmes is ultimately ruled out, I'd say I'm a full go tonight on Dwight Powell. I already own one of his. 361, a little higher than I'd like to pay for him. But yeah, if Holmes is out, I'd say that's a fair price. If we're looking cheap tonight, in Memphis, the front end of their back-to-back, they're at OKC, tough matchup. Derrick Rose got hurt last game. He's already out. The guy who benefits from that is Jacob Gilyard. When Morant gets back, Gilyard probably never plays again, but he'll play tonight. They need somebody to bring the ball up the floor. I would say he's probably in that 15 to 20 minute range tonight. Not real impressive. Might get you 15 points, L10 of 8, but his cost is only $1. So if you really need somebody, you can go with him. We touched on Richaun Holmes when we were talking about his front court mate, Dwight Powell. If he is back tonight, I think he's definitely in play. More of a rim runner type, just like Lively is. Powell's more of the stretch 5, shoot the threes. Holmes doesn't shoot threes, just to run the floor and dunk and grab some rebounds. $1.49 for an L10 of 8, though. If he plays, I think he's in play tonight. I think you could do a lot worse than Chris Boucher tonight. Good matchup at home against Charlotte. He gets about 14 minutes a night, plays pretty much every game. His L10 slipped all the way down to 10. I think he can beat that. He's 0.96 a minute. At only $2, I think you could definitely do worse. He'll be in one of my lineups today for sure. I think Keita has an interesting play this week because Boston has a back-to-back, and the second game of that is at Sacramento, where Keita started his career. So it's kind of a revenge game for him. They also have Horford, who doesn't play a lot of back-to-backs. He may sit that one, giving Keita a chance for more minutes. With Horford and Cornette both out, Keita only played 18 minutes last time, but that was because he was in foul trouble. If he can stay out of foul trouble and both of those two guys are out, I think he has a chance for bigger minutes and bigger points. Even with Horford playing, Cornette's still out for a while. I think he's going to get in that 15-minute range, and he's definitely in play. Seems as though Keon Ellis has passed Davion Mitchell for the backup guard minutes in Sacramento. His 13.4 season average is well below what he's been playing recently. 0.79 points per minute, his L10 of just 10. I think he can beat that pretty easily. Fox was out last game. He may or may not be back tonight. If he's not back tonight, I think Ellis is really a good play because they have Washington at home. $4.55, a little on the higher end. Just one game this week, but it's a revenge game for Drew Eubanks as he returns to Portland. So the game in Portland, Eubanks with a 0.89 point per minute average. 17 minutes per, that's about what I expect him to get. But with the revenge game, maybe he goes all out, gives you 25 or 30 points, L10 of 11, and a cost of $3. Tate returned from an illness, played 19 minutes last game. Houston's going with kind of a tight 9-man rotation right now. I expect him to be about 20 minutes. He is averaging about 18 on the year. Not super productive, but he can certainly beat that L10 of 11, and he's only $2.15. If you need an 11 and you can't quite afford Jae'Sean Tate, you can always grab Jeff Green, his teammate. The old man's averaging somewhere in that 16 to 18 minute range. Not quite as productive as Tate per minute, but still beating his 11 L10. And in a pinch, if you don't have the $2.15, but you have $1.72, maybe look at him. I think I kind of discussed this when I talked about Bojan Bogdanovic a couple of weeks ago, but Alec Burks is kind of in the same situation. Another veteran, kind of a productive guy. He can score 1.01 points a minute when he's in there, averaging 17 minutes on the year. Recently, he's kind of been up and down. He played 4 minutes last game. I don't know if you can count on him. They're not giving him much time, but this team is such a mess. I figure they're going to have to showcase their veterans if they want to deal them. So I think Burks is going to eventually get more minutes, and when he does, he's fairly productive. $1.30 is just way too cheap for a guy this good. L10 of 12, he can beat that easily if they can give him minutes in the 20s. He was doing that earlier in the year. Maybe not this week. I mean, you could try him in a pinch, but maybe a stash for coming weeks. Now, the Pistons go with their younger guys. Marcus Sasser is the guy that's actually been getting those 17 minutes the last couple nights. But again, inconsistent. Detroit's kind of a mess. If they play their younger guys, Sasser's 0.98 points per minute, so that's still good. 425, he's more expensive. I'd rather have Burks. Seems like the sentiment with Zaire Williams is that people are just kind of done with him. And honestly, Memphis may be done with him when Morant comes back on Tuesday. This would kind of be a one-day play. If you need an L10 of 12, I think he's going to get some minutes, and he's only $1.29. Conchar in Memphis is a guy that I've had for quite a while in my gallery. 0.81 points a minute. He has pretty decent games from time to time, but his minutes have been really inconsistent. He didn't play last game, 25 minutes 2 games ago. You really don't know what you're going to get. With Rose being out, they are going to need ball handlers. I think Gilliard plays. I think Conchar plays a little bit today. I don't know. I mean, he's played with Morant before and played decent minutes as a backup, so he may be a guy to keep on your roster just to see how the team shakes out once Morant is back. And at $1.11, I mean, there's not a whole lot of risk here. Xavier Tillman's another guy that I really kind of like. He's over a point a minute this year, and he has not played well at all. He may be a guy who improves greatly with Morant back in the lineup. Kind of remains to be seen. I'm going to watch his price over the next couple of weeks here and see what happens. As far as Cam Reddish is concerned for the Lakers, I think his L10 is kind of at a low point here at 16. He plays a lot, and $2.69, the price seems right. If we look at their upcoming schedule, the Lakers have the Knicks at home today, and then they have a back-to-back. They do like to rest Davis and or LeBron on the second of a back-to-back, so I'm assuming that would be the Minnesota game. May get some more extra run there. And if we look at the Lakers, we're looking at kind of a mess here because Davis has missed a game, Russell's missed a game, a lot of game time decisions, Vanderbilt's been in and out. So I think there's an opportunity here. I think I can recommend Dylan Brooks this week. He is playing a little more right now than he has for the majority of the season. He was up in that 35, and he even had a 40-minute game recently. Not productive at 0.69 points per minute, but his L10 is only a 17, and if he's going to play in that 35-minute range, you can easily beat that. I am monitoring Kayvon Looney at this point. He's still 0.94 points per minute. His minutes have gone down this season, but he is playing every game. He's still above 20. L10 of 17 and a cost of $3. We talked about James Wiseman last week, and he was actually pretty good over the weekend. Put up a 37 and a 36. His price went from about $4 something to $10 or $11. So if you have him, you could certainly play him again. You might want to think about selling him, though. The guy I'm looking at is Marvin Bagley, $3.14. Pretty much the same guy as Wiseman. They were both number 2 overall picks that Detroit scooped up. Both play the same position pretty much. Bagley's just as capable as Wiseman of having that same kind of game in the 30s. His L10's a little higher, but his price is a lot lower. So take a look at him. As New Orleans gets healthy, Najee Marshall's minutes should come down. He's just a good player, 0.98 points a minute. $1.94 is just too cheap for him. New Orleans has a lot of guys with injury histories, so I expect him to get another opportunity at some point this year to show what he can do, and I would scoop him up at under $2. In the skilled players for cheap category, I'd put Zach Collins right now. His minutes on the season are about 27, but recently he's been playing more like 17. He'd have to get more minutes to make you up these points, but his L10's 20 and it's falling. His price is $2.85 and that's falling too, so maybe not pick him up and play him right away, but he's an interesting one to me. I would think about stashing him for somewhere down the road. One of my faves here, Emmanuel Quickly, is finally under $5. I'm thinking about picking one of his up. He's only averaging 24 minutes a night, so last year when Jalen Brunson went down, Quickly became like superstar level. So great guy to have stashed in case Brunson gets hurt or just sits a game. Another one just under $5, Kevin Huerter for Sacramento. With Fox being out, we saw Keegan Murray just go nuts. 12 threes the other day. Huge game. Huerter is another one of those guys who can get the hot hand and give you a big night. With everyone dumping Draymond Greens over the last week or so since he got suspended again, his L10 did drop to the 23 as I expected. So when he comes back, I think he's going to be a great play. 321 seems real low for a guy like him who can put up 35 or 40 real easily. And assuming you get a focused and engaged Draymond Green when he comes back, I think his price will go right back up. We talked about earlier, New Orleans is getting healthy. One guy that isn't affected by that is Herb Jones because he's such a good defensive player. His minutes are very safe, playing 30 a game, averaging 0.91 points per minute. I would say, at $3.45, he's a great get right now. Another productive guy under the $5 mark, Tim Hardaway Jr. with Dallas. Obviously works well with Luka. They played together a couple years. A lot of injuries with Dallas right now, with Irving out for an extended period of time. Hardaway stepped in and scored. Had a couple nice games. One good one over the weekend, one really good one the week before that. So I would say he's definitely in play. 0.94 points per minute, $4.66. I think a guy whose L10 will be coming down and make him a little more playable will be Santi Aldama. He's $2.80, over a point a minute. Has played with Morant before. I think once they get everything figured out with their rotations, he's going to be part of it. Kind of been waiting all season for the Wizards to give the ball to Tyus Jones and just let him work. And he's at $5 even. Had 2 huge games over the weekend, including 69 last night. L10 of 27 is a little higher than we'd like, but a point a minute. He's been on the rise. I would say maybe a guy to go grab. And finally, Dennis Schroeder getting a lot of minutes with the Raptors, putting up about a point a minute. L10 of 30, so a little high, but under $5, and he's kind of a high variance guy. He'll get you scores in the 50s occasionally, 40s, and then he'll drop some in the teens. So these are kind of the guys you want because their L10 stays pretty much around that 30 range, but they're capable of more. All right, so let's run through some of the injuries for tonight's games just to give you a heads up on what's going on. Something that came out while I was filming, Embiid is now questionable. Marcus Morris also questionable. Morris has been his fill-in when he's missed for Embiid to start. So this means Paul Reed, Mo Bamba definitely in play if both of those guys are out. They are a 7 Eastern game, so they'll be the first game tonight. So you will probably get news before that tips. If those guys are both out, I would say Bamba's the exciting guy for me because his L10's so low. Reed will definitely play and could put up some good points, especially with Morris out of the equation as well. So that would be one to watch. Halliburton's questionable. Nemhard's already out. So at point guard, it looks like it's TJ McConnell. If Halliburton doesn't go, I'd say McConnell. This is a great spot for him. Miles Turner's also questionable. So you're looking at Isaiah Jackson. Interesting tidbit here with the injury front. Clint Capella was diagnosed with a bone bruise in his knee, missed last game. I just thought they were resting him, but bone bruise is a little more serious. He's a game time decision tonight. If he doesn't go, Bruno Fernando got the backup center minutes behind Okongwu. Fernando may be more of a true center than Okongwu is. And in just 15 minutes, he put up 27 points. He's got all these duds on the scorecard from 1 or 2 minute performances earlier in the year. This is a guy that could be good for a couple weeks if Cabela is out. So at $2, I thought that was a pretty good pickup. Well, best of luck with Game Week 16. We'll see you all back here on Thursday for some Game Week 17 prep.